All right, I'm going to show you a couple of things about After Effects in the world of rendering. Okay, so we typically want to create videos for the web using a codec called H.264. So I just want to show you how to do that. And I'll show you a few things along the way as well. First off, as you can see that I've got this video, and I created this video. Let me just get rid of this comp here. Delete. And so I imported this video, and then I just dropped it onto this thing here, which is to create a new comp, and that automatically creates a comp that's exactly the right size of this video file. This is an SD video, so it's a low quality video file, and it automatically creates the timeline to be however long this video is. So if you're doing this with a still, beware, you might be creating a size that is not video friendly, so be careful about that. Also, this over here is telling me that it's a third resolution. Now be aware, that's just what you're viewing as it is right now, because sometimes you'll find that when you want to play it, it won't play back in real time. So you're trying to view how the thing is actually moving, and it won't play back in real time. Remember, this is not an editing program, and so it doesn't want to do that. So you'll change the resolution just at playback to a lower thing like this, so that you can then play it back in real time. This green line represents real time. So if I put it in full, you'll see that it's much more crisp now. This is a very low quality video, so full is okay for this. But if you're doing anything in HD or 4K, chances are you're going to have to change this down. And then when you render it out, you just have to make sure that you're rendering it out at the highest resolution. So this does not reflect what you're rendering it out. And I want to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and just create another layer of something, and I'm just going to write text, test, and notice that it created a new layer over here for me as soon as I did that. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just move that over here. I'm going to just take a look to see. This is my video, fine, and I want to render it out now. But I want to render it out as an H.264. So this is really important, because this is how you want to render out your videos for this class and for anything that you plan on putting on the web. So I'm going to say, with this selected, I'm going to select the name of this composition. As you can see here is AB Digidelic Loop. So you can either select this down here, or I'm going to select the name of that composition. This little icon here is a composition. It's got the sprocket holes on the side there. And then with that selected, I'm going to say export, and I'm going to say, instead of add to render queue, I'm going to say add Adobe Media Encoder queue. Okay, so this is important, because what it does is it opens up another piece of software. Because what you'll find is that in After Effects and Premiere, you may not have the H.264 codec built right into it. So you're going to have to open up this other piece of software, which you're going to want to get familiar with anyway, because you use it all the time when you're exporting, because you need to create many different codecs. Okay, and once that is open, this is what encoder looks like. Notice it says encoder up here. And then once it shows up, you'll see here that this is the media encoder. So this is the encoder. And here you can select, here you have a lot more different things to select from, more codecs to select. And here's where you're going to find H.264. Unless you're building a Blu-ray disc, make sure it's this one that's at H.264. The new version of Premiere and After Effects don't necessarily have this codec built into it, so you're going to have to use this other piece of software. Okay, once you say H.264, this other thing here, you can click on this, and then you have different formats to send it to, like if you're doing it for phones, for Twitter, for Vimeo, for YouTube. So let's say if you're putting something on YouTube, you might want to select one of these ones over here. 4K is going to be a giant file, and it may not be needed for these exercises. But typically what I use when I am putting something on Vimeo or YouTube, I'll use this 1080p as a full. So let's go ahead and do that. And then over here, you're going to click on this word here where it's blue. And when you click on it, what that does is it tells you where you're going to put it. So for now, I'm going to just put it on the desktop, and I'm going to just call it test for that over here, and hit save. And then you hit this little button, and that begins the rendering process. All right, so what it's doing now, it's looking for that media. And the rendering, depending how big the thing is, it's automatically, it could go a lot slower than that. If I go into my, where I put it on my desktop, this is that file that I can then bring in and I can send to a client or whatever. But this is the file that I would upload to YouTube, okay? So that, again, is Media Encoder and After Effects. So again, you can either select this composition. So you have these different things here. If I select this composition, and then if I select the name of that composition, and then say export and for Media Encoder, and remember you want to use H.264.